Hi Year 11, this is our second creative writing video, and this time I want to just spend a few moments focusing on the second choice from these examples, which is to describe an occasion where you felt nervous about something you were about to do. Focus on the thoughts and feelings that you had at the time. Now, the first thing to notice here is that you're being asked to describe. And although what comes after this sounds very much like a narrative, you must ensure that you use descriptive language to bring it alive. Now, it says here where you felt nervous. That doesn't have to be a real life experience. You can certainly use inspiration to help you create something that would make you feel nervous. And then this also tells us to focus on the thoughts and feelings you had at the time. So it would only be right that we show those thoughts and feelings to our reader. So if I'm thinking about being nervous and I'm thinking about thoughts and feelings, well, thoughts and feelings I might have could be linked to anxiety, could be linked to fear. That might lead to things like heart palpitations. So I'm just jotting down some ideas of what that might feel like to help my brain get started. And then what I would want to do is do a very short plan. Now, if you've watched the first video, you've seen that I've done that with a before, now and after situation. And that planning technique would work equally well for this. You could also look at including the dropped, shift, zoom in, zoom out and leave method. And that's the one that I'm going to focus on for this. So I'm going to drop readers into a high stress situation. And that high stress situation is opening a door that I don't know what it's hiding. So it doesn't sound high stress, but the way I want to write about it should create a sense of stress. Then I'm going to shift. And that shift is going to be a flashback to what used to be kept in this room. So this again makes me think of some sort of strange noise. I'm then going to zoom in on something about either the door or the room itself. My zoom out will be the whole room, and then my leave will literally be me leaving. So that would be one way to create a plan for this piece of narrative. So if I'm going to drop my readers into this high stress situation, I think I'm possibly going to use the first person narrative. And you can jot down your ideas and your plan before you start writing, just to make sure that you're going to feel confident with what you're writing about. So I need to feel nervous, and I think that because I want to drop my readers straight into it, I want to create that sense of nerves straight away. So I'm going to go for gulping air into my tight lungs. I slowly walked towards his door, his bedroom door. So a couple of things I'm trying here. Firstly, I'm starting with the present participle. That's to obviously avoid using the. I've indicated that this is a first person narrative, and I've created a bit of suspense by using the pronoun his instead of a name. So gulping air into my tight lungs, I slowly walked towards his bedroom door. He hadn't been inside. This room for the last 8 months. So, how could I have possibly heard his soft voice singing along to the Bill Withers track we love? So again, I'm creating a bit of suspense here. He hadn't been inside his room for the last 8 months. So how could I have possibly heard his soft voice? Just adding that adjective tells us something about him as a character singing along to the Bill Withers track. Again, a bit of detail to tell us something about that character. And the use of the past tense here, we'd, might suggest that something has happened to mean that this individual isn't there. I want to create this idea still that this room has not been touched for 8 months. And so I'm going to do that by trying to show us that the room has been deserted. So a thin layer of dust coated the tarnished doorknob. Nobody had dared touch it since he was last here. So again, you can see that I've tried to employ some of these showing and not telling techniques. So instead of saying no one's opened the door for ages, I've said a thin layer of dust coated the tarnished doorknob. Nobody had dared touch it since he was last here. So this thin layer of dust is a descriptive detail. The use of the word tarnished here just tells us that it's kind of been neglected. Nobody had dared touch it. Again, suggests that there's something about this room that is causing an element of concern. So I'm going to leave it right there for now, Year 11. It's a very quick walkthrough of just some things to consider whilst you're preparing for your creative writing assessment. Thanks then, goodbye.